This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Oh, hello.
Well, let's get back to it.
4-0. How did that happen? Even though I know the results, I think I'll go ahead and watch Match of the Day anyway. Got to see that. Blimey. Britons are warned that the worst of Storm Bert is yet to come after thousands of homes were without power and travel descended into chaos.
Oh, no.
Power outages affected nearly 27,000 homes across the northeast, Yorkshire and northern Lincolnshire, wherever that is. The National Grid had earlier said around 4,000 homes in the region of the Midlands, southwest England and South Wales are also without power. So that's the North East, Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire, if indeed there is such a place, the Midlands, Southwest England and South Wales. Sounds like everywhere to me. Flood sirens were heard in Hebden Bridge. Flood sirens.
Warning, warning.
In Hebden Bridge and Todmorden in West Yorkshire as residents were forced to abandon public transport and continue on foot. Abandon the ship. Continue on foot. The repurposed Second World War air raid sirens echoed through the valley after the River Calder had burst its banks. Flights intending to land at Newcastle Airport were forced to divert to Belfast and Edinburgh as a result of the continuous heavy snow. Passengers were urged not to travel by train in some areas amid multiple cancellations. Avanti West Coast, which runs the West Coast mainline services, cancelled its services north of Preston all day Saturday for your convenience.
Thank you.
We would like to apologise for... You just get blown across the concourse by the force of their apologies. They're very, very sorry.
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Totally screwed up.
I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're very, very sorry. Southern Western Railway asked passengers to only travel west of Basingstoke if their journeys are essential. And all because some light snow had fallen. I mean, you could see how deep it was as it came to almost the tops of blades of grass that it fell on. Almost, but not quite, covering the shoes of the news people who were reporting on this like it was the end of the world. And a little light wind blew through. Not much, not like a tornado or anything, but still the nation ground to a halt. Flights cancelled, trains delayed, roads closed, events postponed. Nothing works in this country anymore.
Correct.
And now heavy rain is expected to develop overnight and into Sunday for southeast and southern England. And some areas are expected to receive 70 centimetres of rainfall during the course of the weekend, which sounds like a lot. So let's translate to European surrender measurements for His Majesty's feet and inches. Any fool could do it. To get from centimetres to feet, you simply double it and add 32, so double 70 centimetres is... double 70 is 160, and 160 plus 32 is 202. There's going to be 202 feet of rain overnight. Can you believe that?
Yes.
And the worst news is that Perth and Kinross Council has axed its annual Perth Christmas Lights switch-on event over safety and travel concerns. And I did homework on this. Can you imagine? Expecting Perth and Kinross Christmas lights to be rubbish, thinking they'd be some desultory string of cheap illuminations flung over a lamppost. But no! In previous years, they really did look good. And now the switching on of the lights will not go ahead this year. Thanks a lot, Meghan Markle.
Boo!
0345 6060 973. Text and tweets and such from last night. Sir Simon says, "Hi, Nick. I admire your great pronunciations. Last week you struggled a bit with Llandud. No, to be honest. May I suggest some practice in Welsh?" Well, let me think about that for a second.
No.
No, you may not. No, you mayn't. Lawrence in Croydon says, Hi, Lawrence, hi. Says, "I'm giving the new government 7 out of 10. Skier needs to grow a pair, but compared to the last lot, I'm hoping for 3 terms. Yeah, minimum. It's going to take 3 terms to undo the mess that the last lot foisted on us. You remember?
This government.
That government and, the trust-astrophe.
Absolutely.
And the great big greedy nincompoop.
The great big greedy nincompoop.
There's copies of his book. I don't know why. He probably gave them to us. They're just lying about the place. And I picked it up And I thought, I'll just read the first sentence, see what it's like. And it's something like, I can't remember exactly word for word, but it's something of the order of, "Paw! It's dark outside. Why's that? Oh, yes, I'm in New York." That is not a great start to a book, is it? I don't know where I am. Yeah, please, Bodge, do continue. You can read about it in my new column. Everything's worse without me. Paw! Lawrence in Croydon says, "Hi." Oh, no, I've read that one. Hi, Lawrence. Hi. You still okay? Okay. Howard in Llandudno says, "A celebrity is somebody who is well known for being famous. The word is well-deserving of such a stupid but apt circular definition." The word is well-deserving, or the world? I'm going to go with the world, perhaps. This says, "We should all get copies of When the Wind Blows. It's very informative about what happens when a nuclear bomb is dropped." People have got to stop talking down the planet. I mean, all those newspapers who just bellyache on about Rachel Reeves and the new Labour government talking down the economy have got page after page after page about the imminent destruction of everything that we hold dear from World War III. Like, pick one. It says there are a few outcomes of this war. This war? Are you talking about one that's already underway, or the one that's about to start, according to the right-wing press? There are a few outcomes of this war, and the worst one is not letting Russians to keep what they claimed to be theirs. Oh, that war. The worst would be a nuclear war if everyone think it is not gonna happen. Just look into the CV of humanity in the last 100 years. No bead to go down 2,000 years. Does that make sense?
No.
Maybe the person who sent that is suffering from fallout. This says, let's see if this makes any sense. The Storm Shadow missiles are assembled in MBDA in Stevenage. With a little bit of luck, Putin will bomb Stevenage. Well, nobody would miss it, really. MBDA. Isn't that dance drug? Are you telling me that people are taking ecstasy and assembling intercontinental ballistic missiles? Is that a good idea? I'm not sure. This says, "Hi, Nick. Christmas tree is up. Dancing Santa is doing his thing. Climbing Santas are all over the doorways. Window Christmas decals are up. And I'm a bottle of red in. I love this time of year."
Booze.
Finally, we get some happy news. Thank you. Took a while. God. Everyone's so negative. Everyone's a negative Nancy these days. Gary in Cardiff said, "I've only got like 11 pages of these to get through, and they're already coming in from today, so." But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Gary in Cardiff says, "Nick, have you heard that Jacob Rees-Mogg has gone full on Kim Kardashian with his own reality TV show? Oh, great. Now he's trying to be charming and lovable. Don't fall for it, kids." Simon in Cambridge says, "My mind has been blown."
Yowza.
He says, "I was convinced your soundbite, 'Everything is going extremely well,' was from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I also haven't seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, yet I'm a massive Stanley Kubrick fan." No, you're not. "I'm now off to sit and watch it in full," says Simon in Cambridge. How can you be a massive Stanley Kubrick fan if you haven't seen his grand opus, 2001: A Space Odyssey? Not a fan at all. Not a fan, Simon in Cambridge. Simon in Cambridge is not telling us the truth. Liar! Ian in Ealing says, "I watched The Princess Bride for the first time, so I know where your boo soundbite comes from." Oh, I'm being found out left, right and centre. And this one. "Hi, Nick. This is Brian here in Pennsylvania." Pennsylvania. That's PENNSYLVANIA. Or there or thereabouts. "This is Brian here in PA. We love you, Donald, and can't wait for my 10 cents on eggs." Says Brian. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've just lost your country, but at least eggs will be cheaper. In your mind. in your mind? Gateshead. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Simon.
I'm sure you're wondering what to buy Carol for the upcoming holidays.
Yeah, let me think about that for a second. Nothing. She gets nothing in large amounts.
I have a great idea for a gift for her.
Yes.
Trump is selling a lady's watch for $900.
$900?
What?
Exactly. And he says it's got lapis lazuli, which is a semi-precious stone.
Mm.
And there's more to lapis lazuli than just beauty. It's believed to protect against the evil eye, block negative energy, and promote serenity, positive vibes, luck, and harmony.
Yeah, and in other news, lapis lazuli is the real name of Miss Hawaii. Not a lot of people know that.
Well, thank you for telling me.
Okay, well, thank you for saying it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. She ain't getting nothing from me. Not now, not ever, never. She will get nothing but my disrespect. I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin, by the way.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we're coming up to our 300th episode, which just blows my mind. 300 episodes. And I do believe that each and every one of them is funny, because we just set each other off. There's just something about the charisma between us. We've got it, whatever it is.
Disgusting.
And if you have a problem or a dilemma or you were considering something and couldn't quite figure it out, then that is the idea of the podcast. Just give it to us and we will do our best. We're doing our best. Email Nick and Carol at global.com. That's NICKANDCAROL at global.com. And prepare to be totally satisfied.
Yeah.
Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
This is absolute tosh.
And I was wondering why Nigel Farage was wearing Wellington boots, other than, you know, he likes dressing up and pretending that he is who he isn't. And somebody came in with the following information. Evening, Nick. We were all advised to wear wellies if we were not from the farming community, and if you could not attend, to wear wellies in support of the farmers. Kids went to school in them, etc. And there was me thinking it was a serious protest. If it wasn't for your wellies, where would you be? You'd be in the hospital or infirmary, 'cause you would have a dose of the flu or even pleurisy if you didn't have your feet in your wellies.
Rock and roll!
0345 6060 973. Here he is, Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, listen, it's true.
What is?
It's true.
What is?
The North Koreans are looking at Western pornography. The Ukrainians have utilized it as a weapon of war. Western pornography has totally paralyzed 10,000 North Korean troops.
Yes, they're rigid.
I thought it was a joke. I heard it on Matt Fry this morning.
Right.
It's got to be true. Point number two that I wanted to bring out with you. I notice over the last couple of weeks you seem to be locking horns with my old pal down in Bodmin, Malcolm, and you seem to be. You realise, of course, that you shouldn't really do that, because that was Malcolm was the one on Brighton Pier with the guy, your presenter from LBC on Brighton promenade.
Right. You're making absolutely no sense so far, but you're telling me that I am locking horns with somebody who calls this show. I'm not aware that I am doing that, but there is a bloke who does call up and keeps telling me that I have been having a fight with him, of which I have no recollection. So it's obviously more...
you'll leave him alone.
It's more impressed on his mind than mine.
Leave him alone, Nick. He's Welsh, okay? And we're very proud of him.
Well, as long as he stops calling me, I'll leave him alone.
He put up a terrific fight with Ian Dale on Brighton Promenade.
Right, well, I don't know anything about that.
His dog, Markham's dog, kept biting Markham. And Ian...
Hang on a minute. His own dog was biting himself.
Was biting Malcolm, and it's, but we're all...
Can I just get this clear? Malcolm's dog was biting Malcolm in a fight?
Yes, with Ian Dale.
That's some useless dog. What kind of a dog is that? You wouldn't want a dog like that. All that money he spent on that dog, and then when it comes to it, he picks on the owner. Wow.
Yeah, but we Malcolm was given away at least 3 stone and about 6 inches a night, and they both ended up on the floor. It was absolutely hilarious. Right. Ian's face looked as if he was holding one of the dogs. Well,
maybe you should call Ian about this. It's got nothing to do with me.
Okay. Lastly.
And finally, yes.
Finally, thank God. The thing is, what I've been, everybody's looking at the news and everything else these days.
Don't talk to me about World War III, because I've had it up to here.
No. Do you know what the Mary Lloyd is?
The Mary Lloyd? Yeah, it's the...
Lloyd.
The Mary Lloyd.
Not Lloyd.
Yeah, Lloyd.
You don't know what it is.
Lloyd? Are you saying Lloyd?
No, Lloyd. L-W-Y-D. Mary Lloyd.
Mary Lloyd. Yeah, that's the boat with no passengers on. It emerged out of the gloom.
It is.
It's a mystery for the ages.
It is a horse's skull, right? Attached with a white cloth around it. Okay.
Attached to what?
And it's on a pole, and a big white sheet is put hanging down, so the person that's carrying this horse's skull around the streets and going into pubs with is you can't see the person holding it, and it's a horse's skull with a big white sheet flowing down to the ground. It looks horrendous.
But for what purpose?
It's an old tradition between Christmas and the New Year.
Some nut carries around a prop from The Godfather for free drinks.
Something
like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep my eyes peeled, and as soon as I spot it, I'll let you know. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Jeff. This text says, I once watched 2001 on the red eye to New York. All the lights were low. Everyone was asleep. It was a quiet cabin. It was one of the most surreal experiences of my life.
Groovy.
This says, Laura says, Clarkson already said a while back that he bought the farmland for tax reasons in an interview. Yeah, he did. And then got really irate. I mean, just to a ridiculous extent when those words that he said were read back to him. Classic BBC, he said. He said that several times to several different questions, as though that's the only thing he could think of at the time. And then, of course, he tried to get the crowd on his side. Who thinks she's a moron? Yay! Well done, Chesa. Painful. I think you farmers need to get another spokesmodel. Penny says, hi, Nick. George Monbiot and Peter Hutchinson's book, The Invisible Doctrine, explains things very clearly. The New World Order belongs to the blatant political oligarchs which we are now seeing with ever greater clarity. Perhaps you know the book. No, Penny, I don't know the book.
No.
Let me ask you this. Is it a book? Then I don't know it. I mean, I've already read one sentence of one book today before I came on the air. It was Bodger Johnson's. Woke up in a state, didn't know where he was. Please continue to read this book.
No.
No. There is nothing that you could do to persuade me to read that book that doesn't involve a large sum of money. And, just as long as I'm not tested on its contents afterwards. I mean, I'll tell you I've read the book if you give me a large amount of money, but I can't promise that I will remember anything about it. Chris in Nottingham says, have you seen Trump's guitars? He's actually making electric guitars, says Chris. You're kidding. The limited edition American Eagle guitar series. Oh, well, that does sound like him. Check it out, says Chris. I'd have thought banjos would have been more lucrative. Well, where do you go after making Bibles? God came to me and he said, sir. God said, sir, that's the best Bible I ever read. I said, thank you, God. Okay, here's the information. Trump unveils latest merchandise grift, $10,500 signed American Eagle guitars in time for Christmas. Wow. I mean, people who voted for him, are you okay with this? I mean, does this seem like a person who you would actually want to run a country? Or did you just vote for him for a laugh? To own the libs. I mean, come on. This has gone beyond a joke. We are... I keep saying this, but there's a film called Idiocracy, and we're living in it. If you haven't seen it already, you're actually watching it right now. It's on, now. What you're seeing is it. Donald Trump has unveiled his latest merchandising venture, a range of limited edition American Eagle branded electric and acoustic guitars, retailing from $1,500 to as much as $10,500 for a signed model. And if any of his other merchandising ventures are anything to go by, it'll probably explode as soon as you plug it into the wall. Coming soon, the limited edition 45 guitar, only 1,300 of each acoustic and electric guitars made, some personally signed, the president-elect announced on his Truth Social platform on Wednesday evening. I mean, pretty soon he's going to be on a bridge somewhere asking you to pick which cup has the ball underneath it. I mean, come on. Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. The post links to a promotional website, gettrumpguitars.com, which reveals the MAGA guitars are available in simple black, red and gold as part of Trump's presidential series, in addition to the trucker-friendly American Eagle design and a God Bless the USA model emblazoned with stars and stripes. Holy moly. I mean, if there's anybody on earth that is an actual serious musician that would pick one of those up and play it, who is not actually Kanye West, whoop-dee-dee-scoop-poop, then I'll go to the foot of my stairs. I don't even have a set. I will build some stairs and go to the foot of them. That is my promise to you. I mean, he's going to be selling cosmetics door to door next. Bing bong. Adolf calling. 0345 6060 973. Blimey, the stuff you learn on this show. It's educational, no? No. This says, Nick, I'm going to duct tape an orange to my living room wall in the hope of getting £4 million. It's art, I just know it. Well, it is if you're an artist. Don't ask me why, and don't ask me what you have to do to become known as an artist. But I mean, that's the art part, I guess. Can you con enough people to convince them that what you're making is actually art, is worth something? Archie in Inverness says, propaganda works, ? And voters can't be relied on to discern truth from lies? Does that mean we should dump democracy then? Says Archie in Inverness. No, we shouldn't, Archie, but I would request, pretty please with sugar on top, that you don't vote anymore. Just skip that day. Next time voting day comes around, just tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow. You'll do it sometime next week. You're busy. Jeff in Liverpool says, how many more of these have I got? Oh, my God, they've started to come in vast, like there's a tsunami of them already. I've got about 11 pages of ones that have come in from today. I haven't even got through yesterday's yet. This says, apropos of nothing, I recently watched Koyaanisqatsi, based on your recommendation. Koyaanisqatsi. Write that down. It's my favourite film. I've probably seen that film more than any other film, and it never ever gets old. So this text is probably to praise it to the rafters. Let's read on and find out. Apropos of nothing at all, I recently watched Koyaanisqatsi based on your recommendation. That film needed to be a good third shorter.
What?
You are joking. Too repetitive. The same is true of the Philip Glass soundtrack that accompanies it. Excellent, no doubt, but I can only listen to an interplay of eighth notes and triplets for so long. I have no idea what that sentence means. That's your favourite film? Really? Have you seen Jurassic World 3? Oh. Now, this person doesn't leave their name, but whoever you are, you're an idiot. And I mean that in a helpful and supportive way. In other words, they say, love the show. What, this show? I ban you from ever listening to this show again. Koyaanisqatsi. And without looking at it, I can spell it for you. Koyaanisqatsi. I hope you got that down.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, I am very apologetic about having to keep you waiting. Jan in York. Jan.
Hello, Nick.
Jan.
How are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. COP29.
Not much COP 29.
No, I'm thinking that all a waste of time. All talk, not enough action. What do you think?
I agree entirely, but as it was held in Azerbaijan, whose entire export market is in fossil fuels, then I wasn't really expecting very much.
That's right. I mean, that president, didn't he say that oil and gas, a gift from God? I believe he said that. I mean, what can you expect?
Yeah, I would look that gift horse in the mouth. It might be a gift in the short term, but in the long term, we're all going to die.
Yeah. I mean, I read somewhere this afternoon that it's taken them 9 years to pass the carbon markets agreement, whatever that is.
Yeah, whatever that is.
I couldn't be bothered to read what it was.
No point, Jan.
9 years. And,
we don't know what it is, but we're very angry it's taken so long.
Yeah. I don't think...
Shall I tell you what the truth is? I mean, if you were an alien from space and you were looking at this planet from afar and you were thinking, can't these people tell that something really is up with their weather? I mean, you know, these we're translating from from human into our own language of gibberish. And their news items are always using the word unprecedented. Yes, this unprecedented storm, or this unprecedented heat wave, and this unprecedented drought, and this unprecedented snowfall, and they're not connecting the dots. How stupid are these humans, you would think? And then let's investigate as to why it is that they are so apparently blind and deaf to their own predicament. And the reason they came back with was there's about a handful, almost no more, of people who are making an unfathomable amount of money, so nobody is going to do anything because of those 6 or 10 people.
Yep. We're doomed.
Yeah.
I mean, there are planes flying all over, isn't there? And I read the other day that cruise ships are great polluters.
Yeah. One of the
apparently.
worst. One of the worst. Yeah.
I've written this down. Their carbon footprint of one cruise ship is the equal of 12,000 cars.
Well, right. Okay.
And apparently they're supposed to deal with their sewage before they chuck it overboard.
Oh.
But apparently some of them don't. So can you imagine that going into the sea?
Do I have to?
Well, yeah.
Is there any way I can get out of it?
Not really, no. It's
Oh, miss. I don't want to imagine it.
It is awful, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is awful. We're not going to do anything until it's too late, because it might involve us changing our life just a tiny little bit. A small inconvenience is going to do for the human race. It just will, because that's who we are. We will put off long-term benefit for short-term gain, and that will be the undoing of us. Short-termism.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
You mentioned Rees Mogg a bit ago, didn't you?
Yeah, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Do you know he's on Question Time next week?
Is he?
Will you be watching?
Yeah, there's another excellent reason not to watch Question Time. No, I couldn't stand it. I'd just be throwing things at the TV, and I can't afford to buy a new one.
Well, you might get a good laugh. You never know.
No, I very much doubt that I would get a laugh. I just get irritated. See, I'm already irritated and I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, I know what you mean. One more thing before I go.
And another thing.
You often say that you waste a lot of time on Twitter, don't you?
Yeah, I'm weaning myself off it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now you're on Blue Sky. Aren't you worried you're going to be wasting even more?
I'm quite neglectful of. I'm a neglectful social media user. I'm not very good at it because it just. I don't know. I'm starting to get resentful of the amount of time that it takes, because I'll put it on in the morning, and I find that lunchtime comes around, and I haven't actually done anything yet, and that just gets irritating. But it's almost like pulling a bit of yourself off, a bit that you quite like, because there's a certain pleasure that you get in being annoyed. Does that make sense? There's a certain... It's almost like getting a delight from being tortured. Just a bit. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah. It is a complete waste of time, though,
totally,
isn't it, really?
Yeah. Although I'm thinking of getting into Instagram and TikTok.
No.
Well, I think that if
on Instagram, aren't you?
I am, and I keep forgetting that I am. But I posted maybe like 12 pictures on there. I just keep forgetting that I'm on Instagram. But I think TikTok, from what little I know, I mean, I saw it once, and in about 10 seconds, I realised this is the most addictive thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to put it away right now, otherwise there goes my life. And but I think that what it is silly. And I think that what the world needs now is not just love, sweet love. It's the only thing. Sing that there's just... You're not singing. Too little love.
Not singing, no.
Not singing, right. Not yet. Need a run up at it. But I think the world needs a bit of silly, don't you?
Really?
Because I think there's a little bit too much serious.
Is that TikTok?
A little bit too much doom and a little bit too much gloom. Yeah, I do believe that TikTok is all about the silly. It's about people making cakes and doing silly dances and...
I've never looked at it, so...
No, well... I recommend that you don't, Jan, because the Chinese government will be taking down all of your particulars to use it against you in the future.
Well, you never know, do you? Really?
So you want to straighten up and fly right, Jan?
I will.
All right. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, I'm thinking of dedicating my life to silliness from this moment on. Who's with me? Hands in the air. Jeff in Liverpool says, in my experience, people who aren't impressed by the older Jaguars all have one thing in common. They've never driven one. When did you drive an XJR, Nick? Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, never. I don't think I've ever even been in a Jag, let alone driven one. XJR. What does that look like? I bet my glamorous assistant is going to get me a picture of that straight away, if not sooner. An XJR. Is that the old one that looks like makes you feel like you're driving around in a gentleman's club? He doesn't appear to be moving a single solitary muscle. I don't think he's even listening to me. He's in there bopping his head. I think he's listening to Capital. I mean, it's groovy and all, but I'm trying to do a show here. Pay attention. I suppose I'll have to look it up myself. God, blimey, I have to do everything around here. But you know me, I never complain.
Stop whining.
XJR. One moment, please. XJR. Right. Oh. Right. Like a middle... Like a marketing executive. I mean, no offence, but that looks like a marketing executive's car. It looks like the kind of car that somebody with samples in the boot would drive up and down the motorway in. But I'm sure it drives lovely. This says that the Jag was a beautiful car, completed by the iconic badge. Just for once, cut the sarky comments. The Jag? Which one? That whole Jaguar thing is just preposterous. And I think it does actually demonstrate that this country has started the silly without me. The boss of Jaguar has defended the car marque's dramatic rebrand after critics called the new advert woke. Oh, God. It's woke, that is. Go woke, go broke. Yes. And they pointed out that the advert doesn't feature any cars. Oh, well. When Jaguar find that out, they're going to be furious. You better let them know. Rawdon Glover, the managing director of the Indian-owned firm, has also hit out the vile hatred and intolerance directed at the eccentric-looking models who appeared in the video. The rebrand exercise, which has ditched the iconic Growler logo, which I probably not alone in learning what that's called for the very first time. The Growler logo of the big cat, which I never really liked. The actual model of a ready-to-pounce cat, which they used to mount on the bonnet, that did look good. But you can't do that anymore because, health and safety. No! But the badge, that never looked very good to me. It always looked like, what's going on? The Growler logo, it's been replaced and been replaced by imposing all caps typeface, which is JJ upside down. The rebrand also demotes the Leaper cat logo that once decorated the bonnets of all new Jags to a maker's mark. Well, it once decorated the bonnets until people got speared by it. And then they had to take it off. It's now, it adorns the inside, making people furious. Rawdon Glover, the managing director, denied that the firm was throwing away its near 100-year heritage with its most dramatic rebrand in decades, instead claiming that the car maker needed to step away from traditional automotive stereotypes to find its place in the market. And who are the stereotypes that run a Jag? I mean, it's petty crook Arthur Daly, all of the crooks in the Sweeney, and grumpy old police person Inspector Morse. The era of the E-Type is 60 years ago. I mean, what's the stereotypical driver of a Jag not? Young. And young people now don't become like their grandparents anymore, like young people used to. They just become older versions of themselves. They wear jeans, they listen to rock music.
Rock and roll!
And they want cool things from cool brands, and they don't want to be associated with the brands that their grandparents like. You know, just like they don't want to eat Spam, and they don't want to wear brown cardigans, and they don't want to watch Songs of Praise, and they don't want to drive a Jag. And the proof of that is the car sales. A third of what they were 6 years ago. 6 years ago, they sold 180,000 cars a year. Last year, 66,000. Down 2/3. I mean, if they kept relying on people that look like Nigel Farage to sell their cars to, they'd be dead as a company at this rate by next year. I don't really know why the boss of a company is addressing the wailing of the purple-faced Fury Brigade in the first place. People who complain that they don't have the money to heat their homes are supposedly apoplectic that a car they can't afford is changing its logo. Why give these people the attention they obviously crave? I mean, last month they were yelling about vegan scones. They're totally unhinged. They don't represent the people of this country. They just think they do. And let's not kid ourselves. This is the same as the advert for Boots, the chemist, and the same as the Sainsbury's ad from a few years ago. People who can't accept that we don't live in 1957 anymore and are resentful that the world doesn't wear slippers and listen to the Home Service. It's just a bunch of sad old geezers who have nothing left in life except making other people's lives as miserable as their own. Otherwise, what's the big to-do? I mean, seriously, what's it got to do with anyone what an Indian company puts out as an advert for something they aren't going to buy?
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Totally loop the loop. Launched on Tuesday under the slogan "Copy Nothing," an adage from the company founder Sir William Lyons, the ad features diverse models in Technicolor outfits walking through an alien landscape, which, for the majority of the people making a noise about this, translates as gay. Technicolor outfits would be better on a black and white television for those people. I mean, if you're wearing something that can be seen in fog, that's gay, and they want it stamped out in case it infects them with its gayness. They're petrified that if they're subjected to people wearing Technicolor outfits, they might turn into one of those plus people. You know, the LGTBCDEFGHI plus people. They won't know which bathroom to use. The advert features boldly dressed fashion models in bright primary colours alongside slogans such as "break moulds." And you can't break moulds without causing tantrums. The boss of Jaguar said that he believed that the overall reaction to the campaign had been very positive, but that he was disappointed. No, he wasn't angry, he was just disappointed by the level of vile hatred and intolerance directed at models in the advert. He says if we play in the same way that everybody else does, we'll just get drowned out.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, I bet if you saw an advert for a car without the branding, you wouldn't be able to tell me which car you're looking at. They're all the same. Car swishes through town on empty streets and parks in front of an office block, where you know in real life you'd never be able to park. Or car swishes through an alpine pass on a deserted road. What the car is never seen in is stuck in traffic. Never seen searching for a parking space, never crawling through town in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. They're all instantly forgettable. But this ad isn't. And it's just a placement ad. I mean, they don't actually have the cars to sell yet. So you don't have to decide not to buy one yet. The fuss is because a small bunch of tweedy old geezers resent the modern world and wish it could go back to some imagined idyll where it's always warm and sunny, and the only time you were allowed in the front room was when the vicar came round. And the only thing that gets them angrier than the thought of young people having hot personal relations with each other is young people in loud clothes sniggering at them for getting angry at all of that. Well, wake up, Grandad. It's later than you think. And all that "it's woke" nonsense is shorthand for things aren't the same as they were when my knees didn't creak. It's being rueful that they didn't have the time of their lives when they were young enough to enjoy the time of their lives. It's regret at the passing of years. Because I'm pretty sure that the people making all the fuss about this didn't used to be resentful and sad when they were young. Jaguar should forget those people. They don't buy cars. They wouldn't buy a Jag even if they could. They'd buy a Honda Civic. And besides, some of the biggest successes in business have been rebrands that caused similar storms of fake outrage when they were introduced. Dunkin' Donuts became just Dunkin'. What, no donuts? They screamed. Burberry went from fusty suppliers of raincoats to the middle-aged middle class and comedy French detectives to being the choice of Essex boys and girls, and a chav was barely ever seen without some of its check on them. So Burberry went woke. They got in a lot of skinny models and that girl out of Harry Potter, and its revenue went up 20%. GlaxoSmithKline rebranded as GSK. They threw out their old logo, but nobody chucked out their toothpaste. McDonald's went from bright plastic to McCafes with Wi-Fi, and no one yelled, "Where's Ronald?" Lego went from failing theme parks and clotheslines and jewellery and rebranded by cutting the different types of Lego bricks you could buy in half. And with the help of Lego Movies, it became one of the biggest turnarounds in corporate history. Starbucks ditched the words Starbucks coffee from their logo. Changed the siren, that long-haired woman on their branding, from black to woke green.
Oh, no.
Emphasised all the other stuff they sell. Coffee fans were reported to be furious, and sales went through the roof. The cooperative became the co-op. Stuffy wording that reminded people that they sell funerals went all light blue and curvilinear. And the elderly commentators and fury-mongers had a fit. And the co-op went from a loss-making business into profit in 1 year. I mean, I could go on, but what's the point? People are going to hate. Because for many, it's the only pleasure they have left in life. Making other people miserable. What a way to run a planet, eh?
Dreadful.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Can I have an outside line, please?
0345 6060 973. Brighton. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. Yeah. I would have thought you might be a Jag person. I thought you had a classic car or something like that. I would have thought you might be a Jag.
Not a classic car, an old car.
An old car?
Different.
Oh. It's not a classic. I thought most old cars are classics, aren't they? Anyway.
I think it depends on how old they are and what kind of car they are. Yeah.
How old's yours then?
I think it's like it's 25. No, wait. You're asking me to do maths. I think it's 35 years old.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, I saw that. It must be a classic. Anyway, I would have, yeah. Oh, but also, okay, and also just I was curious about that, because as I'm in Brighton, I was curious about that guy who's talking about Malcolm and Brighton Pier. What was that all about? Any idea?
I have no idea.
No? Okay. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about, is it Rachel Reeves and this LinkedIn profile?
Rachel Reeves and the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, no, she apparently, you heard about this, she apparently updated her LinkedIn profile to say she wasn't something in the Bank of England, and she was, she changed it so it didn't look so impressive. But the thing is that politicians, they don't need any qualifications to be a politician or to do the job, do they?
They certainly do not. No,
to be a cabinet minister or anything, they don't need it, which I think is a good thing, really. Don't really need it.
It's not a good thing. I mean, it very much depends on who it is we're talking about, but having no experience or knowledge of the job at hand is not necessarily a good thing.
No, hopefully they got some idea, but it's, hopefully they got advisors around them to give them good advice.
The deep state, you mean?
Yeah, but you look at all the chancellors we've had, chancellors we've had, like Boris Johnson, you've got Trump, you've got...
There's not enough time in a brief 3-hour show for you to list all of the chancellors that we've had.
So I think it's... that's the sort of stupid thing. People are saying, Rachel Reeves has misled people about her experience. Well, you don't actually need any experience or qualifications to be a politician or a chancellor.
You don't have to be any good. You don't have to know anything. You don't even have to show up for work. That's actually true.
But hopefully you'll get voted in or out if you do a reasonable job or a good job. So hopefully the public will decide.
No, I mean you can fool some of the people all of the time. Isn't that right, Smug?
I don't know anything.
Yeah. But I think that was just a bit of a. You heard about that story, Rachel Reeves, and
yes.
It was a bit blown up by the press.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Yes, they've been having what is
a field day.
What is becoming one of the world's longest tantrums ever since the Conservative Party lost the last general election.
Yeah, looking for fault in Labour and everything, and the policies and everything.
Right, don't believe a word of it, John.
Yeah, cheers then.
OK, thanks a lot, mate. Labour has seen its popularity with the British public tick up following the disruptive farmers' protests in London. Up, not down, as some of the right-wing press has been suggesting. Well, they haven't been suggesting it, they've been screaming it from their front pages. Labour a disaster, they said, 3 seconds after Labour had won the last election. And they've been yelling it on a daily basis ever since. I mean, it really is, it's just laughable, is what it is. So I'll give you that story in a moment, but not now. Just time for some texts and emails and messages and such on. This says, completely random, Nick, but can you do your Anne Widdecombe voice? It's my favourite noise and it doesn't require a button from your swanky soundboard. Let me think about that.
No.
I'm not a puppet. You can just dance around, you know. I haven't got a string coming out my back. Ed in London says, morning, Nick. This was from yesterday, so it might have been past midnight yesterday. Today, as a matter of fact, last night's show. So I'm no supporter of either party. I think they're all very bad word beginning with W.
Disgusting.
But we can't let off Brown's government for complicity in the financial crisis of 2008 and the many years before. Blair assist, of course, in brackets. However, the current lot have basically been in for 6 months now, approximately 2 financial quarters. My question to you is, when do you think that the current crop can still get away with blaming the last crop? At least 5 years, Ed. At least. Very easy to break stuff. And the previous administration, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that, seemed to go about their task of breaking this country with delight. And they broke it over 14 years. So you think that the Labour Party, on the occasion of them getting into power for the first time in 14 years, they're going to fix everything in 2 financial quarters? I mean, I know he looks like he came from Hogwarts, but Keir Starmer's not a wizard. Give it a while. Going to take at least 2 terms, 10 years probably, before we notice an improvement. At which point, the country, guyed by the right-wing press, will probably elect another Conservative government again, and then back down the chute we go.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
He is a very sick and dangerous man.
0345 6060 973. This says, I lived near Clacton for a while, and people living in Jaywick, which is the same constituency, are in dire need of help. Nigel Farage annoys me anyway, but if he has let down his constituents, he's denying them democracy. Not sure that's true. I'm not convinced he's doing his job as an MP, but let's see. I'll be watching, as have already messaged the Reform Party regarding his endless trips to see his buddy in Florida. in Florida. Did you get a response, Terry?
No.
I'm assuming that the answer is no. And will continue to be so. 0345 6060 973. Sevenoaks, hello, Mark.
Hi. I'd like to ask you whether you prefer to have Ukraine or to have Brexit.
What does that mean?
The amount of money that the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, is saying that we're wasting on Brexit is about the same amount of money as the US is spending on Ukraine. So we could, on our own, just fill in the hole that Trump is likely to leave in the finances.
Yeah.
And even if Europe can't produce enough weapons for Ukraine, we could buy them from the US. After all, I don't think Trump's brave enough to tell his military industry that he's actually going to
affect their profitability. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. They're the people with all the guns.
Exactly. It'd be rather dangerous for him.
Yeah.
And as for Starmer worrying about it, well, I've worked out that if apart from the fact that Starmer actually got fewer votes in last election than Corbyn did, the number of seats that Starmer would have got if Reform and the Conservatives had pooled their votes would be 267 against the 302 that the Conservative Reform people would have got. So Starmer would have still been Prime Minister despite all of that.
But what has that got to do with anything?
Well, I think that his attempt to butter up the Brexit voters in the Red Wall has utterly failed.
Well, I think it's mystifying that he would even bother himself to try to do that. I mean, why? I mean, they were small in number anyway, and they are old, and those that are still alive are nearing the end of life's conveyor belt. So in 5 years' time, there's going to be a dwindling number of them. So why bother yourself with them? I mean, you don't need their votes now. They probably aren't going to vote for you anyway come the time. Just forget about them, Skier. But he seems to be beholden to them for some strange reason.
Well, people have argued that because they're in the marginal constituencies, that means that they have greater power. And
they don't have any power at all outside of an election period.
Well, that's true. And what's more, that we're going to... what we really need to do is to have proportional representation, and that will further prevent any...
Well, we tried asking the people that, and they said no, and furthermore...
No.
No, they just didn't want that. Well, we didn't ask them precisely that question, but that's more or less what came back.
No, but, well, I mean, just like in the Brexit referendum, we didn't ask them the question of whether we should have a second referendum.
They wouldn't have... Well, no one in their right minds should want a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
You'd have to be absolutely off your chump to say out loud that you would want a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
What kind of a person would say that?
Well, the sort of people who voted in 2019, where 53% of them voted for second referendum parties. And also, remember that even though the Labour Party has said in its manifesto that it's not interested in reversing Brexit, it hasn't said that it wouldn't have a second referendum. And of course, if it did have one, and it went in the way that the opinion polls say it would by a large majority, then that would effectively nullify the mandate given to the Labour Party not to rejoin, given in the general election. So
right, but they said that they would not rejoin, but they didn't say they would not rejoin, and subsequently haven't not said that they wouldn't not rejoin. Is that clear?
Well, it's about as clear as Boris Johnson.
Yeah, just about as clear as him.
The great big greedy nincompoop.
That great big greedy nincompoop. I can't have this conversation with you, Mark. I just can't. But I appreciate the effort. 0345 6060 973. I mean, we'll edge closer to them because, of course, we will. Because the alternative is to crawl across the carpet and tell Donald Trump that his hair looks nice. And give him some money. Buy one of his guitars.
Rock and roll!
Or one of his Bitcoin knockoffs, or whatever else he's flogging this week. I would like 100,000 of your best Bibles, Donald. With the ones with God's signature in them. If you can get that for us, please. I mean, the man is totally unreliable. Even his own fans say that that's one of the reasons that they like Donald Trump, that he is unreliable. He's unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. He says he's going to do one thing, and then he does something else. Even the people that love him say that. And that is no way to run a country. It's no way to run a country for to be a stable partner for another country. I mean, Americans will get what they voted for in large amounts, I'm sure. And I hope that the ones that voted for him get it more than anybody else. But you can't have a relationship with somebody who runs a country in that manner because they're completely untrustworthy. You've got no idea what they're going to do. Which is one of the reasons I would guess that he is terrible at business. The only business that he's ever been good at is to convince people that he's good at business. Everything else has been a failure. Everything else has been a failure. I mean, there's a man who received a small amount of money from his dad, $425 million, and if he just put that money in an interest-bearing bank account, he would be better off now than he actually is, having left a trail of misery behind him. Terrible, terrible businessman. And you can't really do good business with a person who is a terrible businessman, who is unreliable, who changes his mind from one minute to the next, and is easily bought. So we can't pin our hopes on America, obviously. So where else? Australia? No, you'd have to get the nerve up to climb aboard one of Elon Musk's space rockets to get further away than Australia. So it's got to be Europe, because from here you can spit that far on a good day with the wind behind you. So we're going to get closer to them because it was an act of economic suicide not to do that. It's just that the Labour Party haven't figured out a way to do that while saying that they're not doing that and being convincing while they're doing it. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Because we're going to upset somebody in Clacton. We can't add billions of pounds to our economy. I say that Vladimir Putin should nuke this entire island. Let's tear it all down and start again. What do you say? Andy in Dorset says, my girlfriend has escaped from Russia. She cannot understand why Russian people who don't really know what is going on are brainwashed. She's travelled before Putin invaded the country of her father, Ukraine, but can't understand free people in the UK being pulled in by a right-wing media and think that Putin and Trump are good for the world. Putin is the bully in the playground, with his fellow bullies Xi in China, Kim up north, and Iran. Yeah. Yeah. Well, congratulations for getting out just in time. 0345 6060 973. Sam Batch. Hello, John.
Hiya. I've been listening to so much of what's going on. I'm losing track of where to start.
Yeah.
Favourite car? Robin Reliant.
Well, I have an affection for Robin Reliant, but I would say that better than that would be the Bond Bug. Do you remember those?
Oh, the Bond Bug, same company. Bond
Was
Bug,
it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Reliant made the Bond Bug.
I didn't know that. But it could come in any colour you like, as long as it was orange.
What?
How 1970s is that? Orange it came in.
Well, the Robin Reliant I had, it was a Robin Reliant van. I was turning around in the street one day, and I hit a gate, a wrought iron gate. Oh no, got out. There's a headlight drop. It fell out at one of the, at the front. So I pushed it back in. Never had a problem since.
There's a car you can fix with a hammer.
Yeah, I was driving up and down the motorway at 70 miles an hour. With,
that sounds very, very dangerous.
Warning!
I wouldn't do that.
No, but as far as Donald Trump goes, he's proud of his Scottish heritage. Hold on, heritage.
It's a what now? Heritage, yeah.
Yeah, and Elvis Presley was Scottish heritage.
Elvis?
Johnny Cash was Scottish heritage.
Elvis was Scottish.
His heritage was Scottish.
Which family member came from Scotland land?
I've no idea, but I do know they were from Scotland.
Right. Maybe that's where he got his wiggle.
Rock and roll!
Johnny Cash was Scottish heritage.
Really?
And, yeah. And there's more than one. There's more than them.
Well, I think that if you go back far enough, everybody came from Scotland. They certainly invented all of our stuff.
Yeah. Brilliant people that come from Scotland.
Yeah, no doubt.
And, but as far as all that goes, and I'm losing track now because...
You're losing track. Imagine how I feel.
But, I mean, it's so funny to listen to what goes on and how you speak to people. It's just... and
another thing, yes?
Yeah, fly right. Straighten up and fly right.
Straighten up and fly right, yeah. Catch the pigeon. Catch the pigeon.
Nat King Cole, straighten up and fly right.
Right. Yeah, let's get some Nat King Cole on right now. What songs do we have from Nat King Cole in the library? None? Sorry, John. Big disappointment. Thanks a lot, mate.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Hello? Number, please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, here's a person that I have been keeping waiting. That doesn't sound right. Here's a person I have been keeping waiting. Actually, that is right. In Harrow, called Jonathan. Harrow?
Yeah, good evening, Nick.
Yes, Jonathan. I have a question for you when we get to the end of our conversation.
Okay. I'm a bit anxious today, both for personal reasons and world reasons, so I'm slightly intoxicated, so please excuse me.
I excuse you.
Booze.
Yes.
I'm actually suing a few people in the upcoming few weeks, and I was trying to get through to a Daniel Barnett.
Oh, yes.
But the line was completely busy, and I will say I think he is indefatigable in his spirit, and I love how rude he is to people.
That's my favourite part too.
No, I think it's quite good. But, that brings the mood down. I was actually quite ingloriously escorted out of a Mercedes-Benz showroom this week.
I am sorry to hear that. What happened?
Because I have been having a stressful time and I'm struggling financially.
Mm-hmm.
So I deserve a new car to sell the BMW, I told you. And my credit rating, I sat down with some chaps, and the credit rating was just so low, they almost sort of fell out of their seats, because... No,
yes,
it's true. And they said, "Are you trying to pull the wool over our eyes?" And then they gave me coffee and water and everything, because I present, even though I'm balding and obese, I present as looking like I'm doing quite well, but I'm drowning in the debt.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So they gave you coffee and water before they found out how much trouble you were in.
No, they offered me both, because when I was going to Philadelphia, the gays. Can I say that the guys who were serving on the aeroplane, they looked at me funny when I asked for coffee and the water.
Yeah, but which did they give you?
They gave me both, but they sort of looked at me like, like this. Because economy class.
Oh, well, you should have said economy class. Yeah, that's just par for the course, that is.
But I thought a new Mercedes would be quite nice to, because...
Yeah. Cheer you up, exactly. So what did you go for?
No, they asked me to leave.
Right, they asked you to leave. Right, okay, I can understand that. I'm thinking of asking you to leave myself.
No, please, a few points. The stressful issue, if I can, before the Zovial, a couple of points. I want to say that, actually, I'll end with the stressful point. The Zovial things are Bill Clinton's, he's got a new autobiography out.
Bill Clinton has a new autobiography out, that's right. I've been reading little snippets of it.
And he said that he could not confirm or deny if his staff all ripped out the W's from the keyboard, in George W. Bush.
Yeah, that is actually funny. I mean, his staff are said to have taken the W's out of the keyboards just before George W. Bush took over.
Absolutely.
that made me laugh.
And the staff were also allegedly throwing about cutlery, and him and his wife, who is quite a tricky character to work for, allegedly, they maybe took some of the furniture, and again, he said he couldn't confirm or deny that.
No, couldn't confirm or deny it, no.
Speaking of autobiographies, due to my insomnia, I've been rereading Prince Harry's autobiography every night.
Oh, yes, and has it sent you to sleep?
Usually, yeah. He's on page 239.
Well, you have got far. Go on.
He says that I was going to tell your receptionist today, but he was he triaged my call very quickly, so I couldn't talk with him. It was sort of a very quick service, like fast food.
Yeah, what do you want? Get out of my way, that kind of thing.
I don't want to overstay my welcome like the Elon Musk who is not leaving Trump's houses.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought that was very telling that Donald Trump said he's been hanging around, you can't get rid of him. Elon Musk, great guy. But once he says that, then you are in for the outdoor.
He is worth hundreds of billions, and I'm so much in debt, and yet we both had the same dinner a few nights ago of the McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see him? Yeah. No, but the point is that with Bill Clinton and all of this political stuff, or Prince Harry, the point I was going to say, listen, I don't want to get angry with... I don't want to have an argument with you, but I'm very anxious of this war situation because I would not have voted for the Trump because he is rapist, not allegedly. He is conman, not allegedly. But at least, will you be angry with me for saying this? At least he will stop this escalation.
At least he will stop... Well, he said that he was going to stop the war in one day. But then he says that about a lot of things.
Because the job is done, and you're and James O'Brien's hero, Keir Starmer, they are just pouring flames onto the fire. Don't you think we need to come to resolution? It's like when Prince Harry, I was saying on page 239, he was talking about the fact that you need to end conflict.
Yes.
Do you not think that at least Trump, breathe a sigh of relief at the Mercedes dealership, because at least Trump will come in and it will, I know they say Putin has got compromise on him, allegedly, but at least he will calm it down, because the whole world, they just need to cool down the temperature a little bit, you know?
What the world needs now, Jonathan, is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. I think you'll find that that's right.
I'll bring us into war.
Yeah, I expect that he will.
We need a bit of good leadership, because the Starmer, the problem is, I know a lot of your lefty callers, like your big fan, the giggling school teacher who was talking about the mouse yesterday. You know?
No, I don't listen to this show. Go on.
No, I know you all love Keir, and I voted for him, and I can't criticize this country too much, because even after Brexit, when I accidentally went to Gay Pride in Brighton...
Yeah, you just fell into it, right.
And I was at the top, and the chap said, the weather's not good for summer, and I said, it's raining. Then he just looked at me and he said, if you don't like this country, then leave, because you're the racist. True.
Wow, that blew up out of nowhere. You said it's raining, and he told you to get out of our country?
I blame a lot, I still think about that, I blame a lot of this on the Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Who was your former colleague, and I was watching his interview with the chap from Mumford & Sons. Have you seen it?
No.
It's one of these anti-walkie-talkie channels like the Konstantin Kishov.
Right, no, I have not seen that, no.
I really don't want to say this to be offensive, but Nigel Farage, I know he wears lovely suits and he's doing very well, whereas this country has fallen apart. But during that interview, he inadvertently, his hands were moving in a very similar way to a lot of the German hand movements of the 30s. Can I say it in that indirect way?
Right. What, while he was actually having a conversation with somebody from Mumford & Sons, which sounds like the worst name for a band I've ever heard.
The chappie who was doing the interview from Mumford & Sons, his father is multi-millionaire, so all of the pieces are coming together, because all of these anti-walkies, they're all multi-millionaires.
Multi-millionaires, yeah. Join the dots. And follow the money.
But are you okay with the Keir Starmer?
Am I okay with him? Yeah, so far. It's early days, for crying out loud. He's barely got his knees under the desk. Give him a chance.
I know you keep saying this, but he is lacking the oomph, like it's
lacking the oomph. God, how much oomph do you need? You want this much oomph?
Absolutely.
Is this much oomph?
This government...
Is that as much oomph as you need? Or this is probably the oomph that you're referring to?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
No, we've had it up to our eyeballs with oomph.
You think it's not, because someone like Harry, someone like Bill Clinton, even Ed Sheeran, who I do agree with you on this one point. Ed Sheeran, you have delighted us enough. Thank you very much.
Yes.
You're talking about...
Yeah, we appreciate it, Ed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How he no longer has a mobile phone, because he says, I don't cut people off, I just limit contact. And I was thinking I really couldn't give a damn, personally. And, but him, Robbie Williams, who ends his post with the namaste, but... you don't like that either. Okay,
no.
Can I quickly end on one point?
You can quickly end, yes.
Yeah, I'll end on this point. I know you love Keir, and if I could get through to James O'Brien, because he put me in idiot corner, I would say to you and him, we need, number one, two things to it. Number one, we need de-escalation of the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, we need somebody I would like to end the call, even though I'm in debt, by paying tribute to the John Prescott. He believed in something, and unlike the militant feminists who populate the Labour front bench and the Keir Starmer with his eyes devoid of empathy, people like John Prescott and also Trotsky Gandalf, they at least believe in something. So, have a bit of belief. He's not persuading me.
Trotsky Gandalf.
He's not persuading me. I regret it, but yeah, and we're so close to Christmas. We're a few weeks off. So
aren't we just? Yeah,
down.
It's practically Jesus' birthday already. Yeah.
But he needs to get on with it. Him and that common woman with ginger hair. No,
just one question before you go.
Oh, yes, you say.
Have you ever met John from Streatham? Yes.
No, who's that?
Yes. That's an echoing silence that says yes to me.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. 0345 6060 973. This one says, let's see what this is like. I'm trying to choose between a heated gilet and a heated jacket. Which would you go for? Well, what kind of a stupid thing would be a heated gilet? It's an item of clothing that doesn't come with sleeves. So you've deliberately made an item of clothing cold, and then you want to add a heated element to it. That's insane. A heated jacket, of course. If you need heat, then you need your arms covered, because the amount of flesh that is exposed on your arms...
Disgusting.
I mean, that is that's a torso's worth, that is. That just seems great. A heated gilet. Why make something deliberately colder and then try to heat it back up again? It's like putting the radiators outside your house. I mean, OK, it might help a little, but not very much. So that is a full and frank answer. And I hope that you respect my decision. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on WhatsApp, then it's the same number as the phone, 0345 6060 973. This would be a good moment to point out that I do a best of podcast. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. And if you enjoyed that last call, there's something interesting on the one that came out on Monday. I wonder if you will agree with my conclusion. The Nick Abbot Habit is available on an internet near you. Comes out on a Monday. It's 30 minutes of concentrated amusement. It's clips from old shows. I think you'll love it. The Nick Abbot Habit, one of the 3 podcasts that I do. If you can't remember that, then just Google my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, and they will all come up as though by magic.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I am not one of your fans!
This says, this is the last one from last night. Blimey, it's halfway through the show, and I'm still on last night's messages. How many messages have I got from, 12 pages. 12 pages of closely typed messages. Okay, so the last one from last night. Nick, farmers have only been exempt from inheritance tax since 1984. So the people who inherited farms before then could manage it, so why not now? Correct amundo. That's right. And we used to be more food secure then than we are now. So work that one out. And the answer isn't a larger population, because with the same amount... I can't really get into it. I can't. But Labour has seen its popularity with the British public tick up following disruptive farmers' protests in London. Up, not down. Which some right-wing press would lead you to believe that it's gone down. It's gone up. Thousands of agricultural workers took to the streets, flanked by high-profile celebrities pretending to be farmers, and politicians pretending to be interested in farmers, both of which categories included Nigel New Boots Farage. Both the oily charlatan and Jeremy I just bought land for the tax breaks Clarkson predicted that the backlash to the planned inheritance tax reforms would badly damage the Labour Party's reputation, but the latest polls show that the exact opposite has actually happened. According to Techni UK, the weekly tracker poll for The Independent, Skier saw a small increase in his lead over the Tories, up 1 to 2 points despite a difficult week. Which is the opposite of what the right-wing press are reporting. But, as they've been having one continuous, very loud public tantrum about the election result ever since their Conservative Party lost the election, that shouldn't come as a surprise. And get used to that, by the way. They will continue to have an infantile tantrum until the next election, which will occasion their collective heads to explode if the Tories lose that one too. You'll be able to hear them scream in space. Labour is currently sitting on 29% of the vote compared to the Tories' 27%. Nigel Farage's Reform remained unchanged on 17%, and the Lib Dems are down to 12%, and the Greens are unchanged on 7%. Hey, you groovy Greenies! Groovy. On 7%. How about that? That's pretty good. They used to be the 3% party. Now they're on 7%. The Green Party, just in time to see the end of the world, on 7%. And it's about time that the right-wing party had some competition. For the longest time, the split in the centre-left vote has kept the right-wing party in power for about two-thirds of the time since the Second World War, despite almost never having won half the vote. So keep it up, Nige, and we'll never see a Tory government again.
Thank you.
Michaela Marizzo, chief executive of the polling organisation, said our tracker poll this week shows that even with the farming protests in central London this week, the Labour Party, perhaps unexpectedly, rose by 1 point or 2 of the national vote share to 29%. I'm not sure that that is unexpected. I mean, the vast majority of people in this country aren't farmers, and the vast majority of farmers won't be affected by the very generous change to the tax regime. So we saw through this protest as one giant whinge by the super-rich about one of their tax loopholes being closed a little bit. I mean, the sight of Andrew Lloyd Webber, cuddling his cockapoo, or whatever that dog was, protesting about how unfair it all is and claiming he knows how farmers are suffering because he runs a 5,000-acre farm.
What?
5,000 acres. I looked it up. I did homework. Can you believe that?
No.
The average size of farm in this country is about 100 acres. He's got 5,000. And a fortune of over £1 billion. So forgive me if I doubt that he is intimate with the concept of having it tough. Oh, and while I'm on the subject, Phantom of the Opera is about the most excruciating thing I've ever sat through half of. And Jesus Christ Superstar was painful, and don't even get me started on cats. 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Coventry. John.
Hello.
Yes, John.
Yeah, so your reference to Idiocracy earlier on made me call. Basically, we're falling into it, aren't we? So...
No, fallen. Wrong tense. Fallen. It's happening right now. What you're looking at right now, you're inside that film.
Oh, no, everybody's going to start wearing Crocs soon, aren't they? Did you see the reference to that? Because apparently they were made for the film because they thought nobody would ever wear them. And
no.
They're like the footwear of choice now.
No, that can't be true. Crocs?
Yeah, true.
No.
Crocs.
I'm going to have to... Well, I'm going to have to look... I'll have to look that up. One moment, please. Yeah. Crocs. C-R-O-C-S...
Idiocracy.
Right. In the 2006 movie Idiocracy, everyone wears Crocs due to budget constraints and the belief that they would never become popular. The wardrobe team needed shoes that were cost-effective and looked futuristic. At the time, Crocs were a small start-up, and the director Mike Judge thought they were just stupid plastic shoes. They are stupid plastic shoes!
It's all becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy because somebody's gone out there and made a humorous sort of poke at the future.
Yeah,
it's now self-fulfilling. It's becoming real. And you've got Elon Musk who's hanging around like a bad smell because Trump doesn't like electric cars. And
yeah, a little while ago, Trump was saying that electric cars were the work of the devil, or words to that effect, and now he loves them like life itself because the maker of them gave him a lot of money. Honey?
Well, this is the idea, isn't it? He's sort of put himself in that position just to keep his business going, and now he's got control of the purse strings after cutting the revenue for Twitter down by 75%, I think the last figure was.
Yeah, but people, I think people have basically misunderstood why he bought Twitter. He didn't buy Twitter in order to make it sing as a social media company. He bought Twitter as a megaphone.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely, the narrative's changed on there, hasn't it? It used to be left-leaning, and now it's almost like a right-wing platform, isn't it? So it's just become... I don't know, it's hardly worth looking at anymore because it's just absolutely chock-a-block full of people with about 36 followers and a blue tick. Now,
my understanding is that you can only get a blue tick if you, A, have over 1 million followers. I mean, for a little while I think he was doling them out to people who had 1 million followers. Or if you pay for it. What kind of a person would pay a monthly fee to join a social media site for a start? And what kind of a person with 36 followers would pay a monthly fee to join a media site? So I don't think they're people at all. I think they're robots.
Affirmative.
I think the site is absolutely stuffed full of robot accounts who just keep saying the same thing over and over and over. Oh, Donald Trump is our saviour. Oh, you loony, lefty, woke karate. And it's just that, over and over and over again.
And you know that Trump's win is basically media, propaganda. So it's all about projecting that idea, feeding the narrative, and then people believe it, they lap it up, and that's what Twitter's all about. It's all
it's what Donald Trump is all about. Yeah, it's what Donald Trump is all about. Donald Trump is who he is because he played a successful businessman on a TV show. He's a game show host. And the game was to pretend that he was a successful businessman. And that's the only thing he's ever been successful at.
I can't wait for the apocalypse, because anybody who's bought one of those Trump guitars will be first on the gallows, won't they,
Yeah, apocalypse now, please. All right, thanks a lot, John. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Yeah, if you haven't seen Idiocracy yet, well, you're in luck, because it's happening before your eyeballs right now. It's on, now. This is it. You're in it. This text says, hey, Nick, have you ever been to Bratislava? No, I have not. Neither do I believe that there is such a place. He says, your show podcast and the What's Your Problem podcast have been the gigglesome listening material on my adventures here today. It might be the most beautiful city I've ever seen. And I've been to Wolverhampton. I've been to Wolverhampton, he says. Well, I don't know whether it was a he or a she. Sexist. Didn't leave a name. And, I don't think that's a very good idea. You're in Bratislava. Get me out of your ears. I would gorge on the Bratislava-ness of the experience. Listen to the sounds of Bratislava. Don't listen to me. And I just don't think it's a very good idea to walk around with headphones on. I just don't. And when you're missing... you're missing information that might save your life, apart from anything else. Get out of the way, you stupid moron. That kind of thing. I think that people have got to, A, stop staring at their blooming phone. Hey, kids, get your faces out of your phones. And get your headphones off your ears. There's a whole world out there in HD and surround sound. And it might not be there for very long. So suck it up. 0345 6060. This is all very, very good advice, by the way. I hope you're writing this stuff down.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Yes, sadly, this is it. Q texts. Nick, I listened last night from 10 o'clock, but I fell asleep on the sofa at 11:30. Was the second half of the show as good as the first? You bet your life it was. Is available as a podcast, by the way. The whole show podcast. We take the news and most of the ads out, mostly, which means it's quicker to listen to, so you'll have more time to contemplate what a marvel the second half of last night's show was. Update on Bratislava, by the way. The texter said that it was might be the most beautiful city that they'd ever seen. My glamorous assistant said, oh, no, it's not. Well, certainly not the most beautiful city that he's ever seen. But whether he is a good judge or not is, that's yet to be decided. We just don't know. What are you asking us for? Just work here. Holland Park. Hello, Nick.
Oh, hi, Nick. How are you this evening?
Good, thanks. Yes, very good.
Since it was a free-for-all this evening, I wanted to try you on one of the things that's been really winding me up for years, and it always happens around Christmas time, and it's that habit restaurants have of sneaking £1 or £2 into your bill for some, random charity they've picked. And I personally find it the most reprehensible virtue signalling imaginable. And I wondered what you thought. It's a tough one for you because being a sort of Prosecco Marxist, do you side with the Do you hate the diners because they've the temerity to be able to afford to eat out, or do you side with the or do you hate the exploitative restaurant owners? How do you feel about this?
Oh, I hate everybody in equal amounts. I've not seen that. So you're saying that you go to a restaurant and they provide you with a bill, and you say, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then you come to find out what all the added extras are. And first of all, you find that the service charge is not 12.5% anymore. It's 15.
What?
15%.
Well, I'll tell you my two experiences, if I may, Nick, recently. That they were both adding £1.
Yeah.
At the top of the bill, and I'd usually just cast an eye down and do a quick estimate. Does this look roughly right? And of course, the pound attracts your attention. You think, what could possibly cost £1? And in each case, it was for me to make a donation to a charity the restaurant had chosen. Right. By the way, they didn't advertise it on the menu. There was no card on the table. It wasn't on the booking form online. So I booked both restaurants online. And in both and actually, interestingly, the service in both restaurants was 12.5%.
Right.
And guess what? They added the 12.5% to the pound as well, to the pound donation.
Did they?
just to really,
wow.
rub salt into the wounds.
See, I think that's a bit sneaky of them by putting it at the top, because when you're looking at where the added on bits are, you're casting your eyes to the bottom of the bill, aren't you?
Exactly, but it's not just the sneakiness. It's on what planet do they think it's reasonable to add money to your bill? It's the most pathetic. It's not even virtue signalling. It's the opposite of virtue signalling. It's saying, I'm going to take money off you to donate to this charity I've chosen. They don't say they're matching it pound for pound. They're doing anything. In fact, when I complained and asked for it to be taken off, which in fairness they did without quibble, take it off, and they had no explanation of whether they were donating or not. They said, we do this at Christmas time because we like that charity.
Right.
Absolutely terrible. And I think they rely on most people being too embarrassed to call them over and say, take this pound off.
I think you mean too British.
Well, that one as well.
We don't like drawing attention to ourselves. Yeah,
anyway,
we'll pay for anything at all. We don't care.
There should be a campaign by consumers. Personally, I Schwarzlist any place that does that to me, and I'm running out of restaurants to eat in coming up to Christmas.
And I bet that they present the full amount of that whip round and say that this is from this restaurant. This is from us.
Well, I do wonder if it even gets... I mean, I have to suppose they're not that dishonest that they would just take the money and not give it to the charity. But the fact that there's no... Yeah, I just don't... It's just a way to wind up your customers, and I can't. Well, I do understand why most people probably don't complain, because most people don't notice it because they have 2 bottles of wine. They don't even check their bill, and then even if you do notice it, you think, am I really going to? Since they've already printed out the bill and it's all added up, and they're standing there with their Wi-Fi machine trying to get you to touch your card on it, are you really going to say to them, sorry, mate, go back to the till and do this again?
Yeah. Don't you care about the starving children, they'll say, at your table, at great volume?
Well, in this case, it was one charity was the homeless people in Haringey, and the other one was giving water to someone.
I like when they give you a little token at the supermarket. You just spent £860,000 on the weekly shop, and they'll give you a token, and then you put it in the receptacle of your choice. You get usually 3 choices, and one will be, an old age amusement centre, and one will be the Scouts, and one will be helping people with
Waitrose do that.
Right. Other supermarkets also do that. And then you got a plastic coin. It didn't cost you a single solitary penny, and you put it in the box of your choice. And it gives you a warm feeling inside, as though you have actually done something yourself, but you haven't.
No, exactly. And actually, talking of the involuntary things, now every time I use the self-pay checkout machines at, am I allowed to say the supermarket brand? I probably shouldn't. Big supermarket brand.
Yeah.
They now ask you to round up So they say before you can actually touch your card or say, do I want a receipt or not, there's a big button saying, would you like to round up to the nearest pound, which might mean you're spending an extra 80 or 90 pence. There's nothing on the screen to tell you what charity you're donating to or how the mechanism works or if they're matching. Of course, I always push. Now, that's another irritation. Okay,
I've never seen that. I have never seen that. So they ask you if you want to round up.
Someone else do your shopping for you.
And then they don't tell you what the roundup is for.
No, exactly. Well, it's just a charity donation. Right. Nick, does some minion do your shopping? How do you, or you send people out to get your food from a restaurant because you're too famous to eat out?
I usually survive on what food I find on the bus on the way in.
Oh, nice.
Thanks a lot, John. No, Nick, I mean, not John. John was unavailable during the course of that call, so we had to speak to Nick. Sorry about that. No, I've never heard about that. I mean, occasionally it will come up when you're paying for something online using an online payment service. It will ask you, do you want to add £1 to whatever it might be? And I usually have a blanket policy of saying no, which makes me a very bad person.
Correct.
But, yeah, that is creeping in. And if a supermarket is asking you if you want to round up, but they don't tell you what the round up goes to, then, I mean, it could go to the next year's bonus for the chief executive. I mean, if everybody that goes to that supermarket rounds up, then imagine how much that would come to. Billions of dollars. So he's flicking through Yacht Monthly as we speak. Going to pick out a really big one. And an island to park it next to. You believe that? Martin says, leave Storm Burt alone. He's doing his best. Phil in Surrey says, there's a reality TV series about the Rees-Moggs coming out soon. I bet you'll be watching it. I bet I won't. He cannot rehabilitate himself in my mind, and I don't care what he does. This sunk him, for me, forever.
We could have cheaper food, clothing and footwear straight away by getting rid of the protectionist anti-trade tariffs that the EU imposes, and it would be very good for the British people, and it would provide certainty. And I think once there's certainty, the country will begin to reunite.
Yeah. It's not that everything that he just said was fake and false and not true. It's this supercilious way that he says it, as though saying, don't you understand? Absolutely painful. Why would anybody want to watch that man? Why would anybody in possession of a television channel pay that man to follow him around with cameras? I mean, I would rather... I would rather go to the dentist in Bratislava than watch a programme that features Jacob Rees-Mogg. Not now, not ever, never. And I bet he feels the exact same way about me. If he had heard of me, he might say the exact same thing about me. Maidstone. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, just what you were just talking about just a second ago. Excuse me. Why would any TV broadcaster want to do something about Jacob Rees-Mogg? That's just unbelievable. Anyway, I'm just having a drink. I've got sore throat. Take a sip, Nick. Take
a sip.
I'm sorry, I've got this. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better. Sorry. Get a bit dry mouth sometimes. Right, yes. Well, I don't understand why a TV broadcaster would want to about him.
Yeah, you said that already.
Yeah. Now, Starmer.
Yes.
This Jonathan from Harrow, I've heard him on other shows before. A lovely guy. I think he tries too hard to be funny, and also
he makes me laugh.
He always slags off Keir Starmer, and I don't think he's not. I don't know if he's true or not, because I think Starmer's doing a great job. I do. He's been here, there, and everywhere, baby. I know I've said that before.
I think Keir Starmer has achieved a large amount in a very short period of time, and has put this country back on the right track, baby.
Definitely. And I was just looking at I know it's not very good to keep looking at the news because it's so depressing, but they are. I just read, it come out about 4 hours ago, they're employing something, I think it's the EU negotiator or something.
Right.
So I do think it's quite good news. We're going in that direction.
Well, as long as our new EU negotiator isn't the old EU negotiator, that bloke that looks like a melting candle, looks like a waxwork model that had been left too close to the fire, that guy, who's then made a career about writing columns about what a disastrous negotiation he engaged in.
I don't know who that person is, but I'm sure Keir Starmer will make a better decision. I have no idea. But I've mentioned this before. God's honest truth, I do the YouGov, and it's really... I'm on the app. People going back into the... want to, maybe have a second reference or go in that direction. It's up to 59% now.
Yeah, at least.
So, I'm hopeful, and I know no one wants to hear about it, but I think it's really important. We need to...
Well,
get behind it.
It's kind of ridiculous. Nobody wants to hear about it. It's like treading water in an ocean for 36 days, and people just keep talking about being rescued. It's like, oh, you've been talking about that for ages. Let's just stay here and drown would be better.
Yeah, and suffer, which I don't think any of us wants to do. But it's just like waiting for that big moment to come. But I think we are heading in that direction, and I don't care if people who listen to this show or LBC or whatever is offended by it. We need to go back in that direction, because I'm going to say it again. I'm going to repeat myself.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot rely on America now.
No, we can't rely on America. Not now. Not now. I mean,
never.
yeah, probably never. Yeah, because I don't think he is ever leaving. All right, thanks a lot, Tony. Yeah, can't rely on America. You're a very, very unreliable person, Dolly.
Oh, shut up!
Your husband is very, very unreliable, Melania.
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on WhatsApp, then it is the same number as the phone. 0345 6060 973.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Okie dokie. What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. Some handwritten Sex Pistols lyrics, eh?
Rock and roll!
I wonder which ones they were. A cheap holiday in other people's misery. Maybe it was that one. It was one of the best lines in the history of rock. I think a cheap holiday in other people's misery is right up there with I was born with a plastic spoon in my mouth. Very, very good. Though Pete and God, what's his name? You know, the bloke from The Thing who did the what's it? Johnny got there in the end. Martin said, "Oh no, read that." Phil read that. Sean, yes, Sean says, "Finally, we got one." Sean says, "I'm so worried about World War III, I could barely finish my Kung Pao chicken this evening." Really? Barely. So he did, but it took a while. This says, "Hi Nick, I just wanted to ask you, do you think that the Chairman Un of North Korea is a serious world politician? You have to admit he has a serious haircut." Even Cliff Richard wrote a song about him, The Young Un. I didn't know that. There's stuff you learn on this show. Educational, no?
No.
0345 6060 973. Cumbernauld. Andrew.
Good evening, Nick. Hello.
Andrew.
Just to take you up on your opinion of Crocs, I think Crocs are one of the most wonderful footwear inventions ever. They are brilliant.
The most hideous thing that has ever been seen on a person's foot outside of some sort of medical problem.
Popular with cleaners and chefs and nurses. They are brilliant.
Awful.
Well, a dapper chap like yourself might not be seen dead wearing them, but somebody like myself, it's an absolute godsend.
But they're plastic. How can you wear something that's plastic on your feet, or any part of you?
Very easily. They're easier to wear than just about anything else for me, so I won't hear any criticism of them.
Well, you're about to hear some. I mean, it must be absolutely blooming freezing up in Cumbernauld. How can you go out with your toes sticking out?
Quite easily. Because they're the only thing I can just about wear, so I get you very used to it.
Right.
A bit of Caledonian DNA, we're used to it.
Yeah. What colour have you got?
Sort of a light blue colour.
A light blue colour. Right, okay, so that's your feet. What colour are the Crocs?
They match, so I don't even have to bother with socks on them. So.
Right, yeah. Anyway,
I can confirm that it's absolutely hosing down with rain here.
Is
so
it?
Probably the same in Glasgow.
Hey, did you hear about the Perth and Kinross Christmas lights aren't going to get switched on?
Well, I'm sure that's a great loss to the people of Perth and Kinross.
Well, and I had to check on this because I didn't think it would be up to much, but it really is, and it looks like a tragedy. Thanks to Storm Bert, that great yearly event will not happen this year. Can you believe that?
Christmas is cancelled.
Christmas is cancelled. Yeah, that's right. Poor Jesus on his birthday.
Yes, we haven't got any money anymore, so even that's having to go.
Yeah, that's right. Who's got money anymore? Precisely. So anyway,
the greatest lyric ever was "Hope I Die Before I Get Old."
Oh, right. Also from Pete.
Pete.
Yeah.
The wonderful Peter.
So he did too. Hope I Die Before I Get Old, and I was born with a plastic spoon in my mouth. Or rather, the emphasis should be on the plastic, shouldn't it? I was born with a plastic spoon in my mouth.
Was he also Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss?
Same as the old boss. Oh, blimey, 3 in a row. He gets to retire.
Yeah, one of the top bands ever.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was the second gig I ever saw. I must have said this about 1,000 times on the air, but it remains one of the most exciting things I've ever been to in my life. The Who in Celtic Park.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Was this in your schoolboy days, I take it?
It was, yes. I told the boss at the restaurant my first job was in a place called the Tudor Rose, just off Princess Street in Edinburgh. And I was terrible at it, absolutely awful. I mean, I did everything. Do you think of something wrong as a waiter? I did it. Like sitting down, getting the wrong orders. Yeah, no, it's not even touching the sides, Andrew. Sitting down in the middle of the restaurant, and it didn't even really occur to me that I wasn't doing the right thing. I took the order of some American tourists who came in, and then because my meal, because part of the wages was you get a meal. And my meal was ready, so I took it into the middle of the restaurant and sat down on the table next to them and ate my meal. My meal.
Your boss was none too happy.
While theirs was coming. Yeah. So I told my boss, I said, I'm not coming in next weekend because I'm going to go and see the Who. He said, you blooming well aren't. I said, I blooming well am. And that was the last time I ever worked in that restaurant.
Well, colour me shocked.
And it's been onwards and upwards ever since.
You have to make these mistakes when you're young, don't you?
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So it's all a learning experience, and, well, what would you rather have had, a day with the Who or a day at the minimum wage?
Exactly, yeah. Earning 38p an hour or whatever it was with all the omelettes you could eat. Yeah, no thanks.
Old things, yes. Yeah. I dare say Bob Cratchit looked on and envied.
Yeah, that's right. Did you actually call for anything, or have we dealt with it already?
We have dealt with it.
We have dealt with it. Another satisfied customer.
Affirmative.
All right.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay.
On the message about Crocs.
Okay, cheers, mate. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. It was about hideous footwear. That's just an opinion. That's not necessarily a fact. That is just my opinion. Hideous footwear. I mean, I see people wearing them, and I just think, what? Of all the shoes in all the world, you had to pick those. What for? Why? What for? And people add socks to them. Paul says, "Hi, Nick. Today I was checking out our Christmas tree and decorations for the upcoming celebration season. When checking the Christmas tree lights, imagine my shock to find that Meghan Markle had got had got to them before me, and the beautiful Christmas tree lights that I've had for the past 20 years are no longer working. Can you believe that? I bet she twisted them up into knots as well. Is there nothing Meghan Markle is not capable of to ruin our lives? She even screwed up that last sentence for me. You believe that?" Simon in Windsor says, "Funny you say that about kids wearing wellies. Can somebody tell me why children have been going to school with different socks on? Have they? Is that a thing now? Is that one of them ticky-tick-tock things? One of them hippity-hop things? Tick-tock with a hip-hop. Everybody gets to go to school with different socks on because it's a challenge, some stupid thing like that. Wear different coloured socks and drink bleach. That's our new challenge." The kids today. What a disappointment, eh? 0345 6060 973. Lester Hemant.
Oh, Nick.
Hemant.
Pleasure to speak to you again.
Is it?
Yes, always. I was working away and I did try calling in last week, but what it was, your wonderful helper said the reception's terrible, and you know, I think everybody knows that the calls are terrible if you ring from a mobile.
Yeah, we need clarity, like a bell.
Anyway, what I want to mention, I don't know if you were listening to Tom's show, and one of your LBC reporters, you know, that thing that was happening with the farmers moaning on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah.
And this reporter goes, well, I was on this train coming into the London station, I think King's Cross, and all the posh boys were coming out from first class.
First class?
What? Yes. Can you believe it?
No, I can't believe it. I mean, first class costs so much money. I mean, maybe they just sort of charged into first class and dared someone to put them back where they belong.
The guy who was on that train, he said, he goes, you could tell they're all farmers because they wore different outfits, i.e., you know, what they wear on the farms.
Right, so we're not talking about high heels or tutus. We're talking about wax jackets and flat hats.
Correct.
Right.
And to not finish, but Victoria Derbyshire was fantastic when she went straight in to speak to Clarkson about the inheritance.
Well, it was less that she was fantastic and more that he was just preposterous. I mean, the nerve of the man to get the hump that his own words were just being repeated back to him.
Exactly.
I think that farmers, if they're going to... Well, I think that the public is not on their side, and they know that now. But if they had their time again, then they would probably not... I was going to say select, but they probably had no part in selecting Clarkson as a spokesmodel. It's just that the press was more interested in him than talking to anybody else. So he became, by default, their spokesmodel. But if they had their time again, then they would probably engineer a different one.
But he had the cheek, didn't he? Turning round and saying, "Oh, you BBC."
Yeah, typical BBC, said.
Yeah, and we were paying his salary.
Well, if it wasn't for the BBC, then we would not know who Jeremy Clarkson is.
Exactly. Before I go, I have been doing some homework always for you.
Have you?
And you know that wonderful Get Well Soon Nick? You've got 183 likes, 1,724 views.
What's Get Well Soon Nick?
It's on YouTube. The lovely Jan told you about it. Haven't you still listened to it?
No. What is it?
You need to listen. I'm not going to spoil the fun.
It's on YouTube.
Yes. Get Well Soon Nick Abbott.
Right. Okay, well, I'm writing it down, but there's absolutely no point because I'm just going to throw the piece of paper that I'm writing it on away and I will forget to do that, and you can remind me next week. How does that sound?
I'll keep doing your homework for you.
All right, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Hemant. 0345 6060 973. David in North Carolina says, driving around town, I saw a sign that gave directions to the Trump dump. The what? The Trump dump. Is that a thing? Can you even say that out loud? He said, my neighbour told me that this is a special area where undesirable books can be discarded. I'm on my way with The Art of the Deal.
You know, I did 3 of them today. I did a little one, a little tiny one, and then I did a really big one. I did a big one, and I'm still raring to go.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps all over.
I can't believe that. So, this is what's happening in America is a mixture of high comedy and a horror show, and they've got. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually a thing. A Trump dump where you can. This is a special area where you can take undesirable books. They're burning books. Nothing to be alarmed about. They're just burning books, that's all. Oh. We must sail away from America. I mean, if we could hook this entire island, let's bring north of Ireland and Ireland along. The island of Ireland, we'll bring them along and all. You know, for old time's sake, we could hook it up to some sort of tug and pull us just any amount of distance would be good to put between us and them. 0345 6060 973. Wanstead, hello, Sophie.
Hello, how are you?
I am great, mate.
So I normally agree with you about everything you say.
Yes.
But you're wrong about Crocs.
No, I'm not.
Well, my dad would agree with you because he used to call them used tyres. When he
used to
saw
call
them on
what?
my feet. Used tyres.
Oh, used tyres, right.
Because they look so unattractive.
Yes.
But I don't want to be rude, but when you have a shower or a bath, I'm not going to inquire which one, and you come out with your wet feet, do you put them in your fluffy, warm slippers?
What, wet?
Mm-hmm.
Of course not. What kind of animal would put wet feet in fluffy, warm slippers?
That's why you need Crocs, Nick.
No, Sophie, that's why you need towels.
But the towels never dry your feet.
Yeah, they do.
Straight away. You need to air them. You need
air them. Air them. Right, you could get a hairdryer on them. They come up lovely.
They need to be aired so they're completely dry.
No. Well, they're not going to get completely dry if you encase them in plastic.
Now, the thing is, I do worry about the plastic leaching into... I don't know.
Right, well, I hadn't even thought about that part, but it's just like being wrapped in plastic. I mean, that is not... Plastic does not breathe. It's just going to make you sweat. Doesn't it make you sweat?
No. I used to wear them outside, but I don't do that.
God,
I don't inflict the neighborhood.
Public?
I don't inflict the neighborhood with my used tyres.
Yeah. I see blokes going to the gym, like massive blokes. You know those blokes who look like the size of 2 people? They're huge blokes go to the gym in, like, bright purple Crocs. What's that about?
No, but they don't go to the gym to do aerobic exercises. What
No,
they
not
do
aerobic.
Is
they go to the gym to pick up weights that are about as heavy as the building that they're in.
Yes. Stand in a stationary position and lift 50 kilograms of weight.
Yeah, with each eyebrow.
But no, I think you should try the
I'm definitely not going to be doing that.
phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
I really do.
Phenomenon.
But talking about plastic, I am not happy. I know it's not very environmentally friendly, use plastic bottles. And I know once you open a plastic bottle, it degrades.
Yes.
It starts degrading.
Starts leaking into the water inside.
Yes. So I am getting a brand now that's a glass bottle, naming no names.
Right.
But it doesn't resolve the problem or solve the problem of when you get the initial big bottle, it's in plastic to decant it into the small bottle.
Don't be ridiculous, Sophie. Have you got a tap where you live in Wanstead? Use a tap. Where's she gone? I think she's laughed herself off the line. She disappeared. It's a dream come true. She just left. No, don't buy, unless they're advertising with us, in which case it's an excellent and very handy way to stay moist during the day. Don't buy your water in a bottle, for crying out loud. Just use the tap. There's nothing wrong with tap water, unless there is, in which case I withdraw that comment. And when you're in a restaurant, don't get bullied into buying a bottle of water either, because it's come from, not local. And all the pollution that's been created to make the plastic bottle in the first place and to get the water out of the ground, and the huge factory that has to be sited over the well, and they've got to pump chemicals into it and take chemicals out of it, and God, all that palaver. Just get it out of the tap. You've got to put it on a lorry and drive it, and, got to put it on a boat in some cases. How daft is that? No. Tap water, please. That's what you should ask for, because it's free apart from anything else. Although I have been in a restaurant where they charged for tap water.
What?
Yeah. They charged for the putting of the putting the tap water into a jug. I'm assuming that that's what the charge was for. I was apoplectic. But, of course, I didn't show it. I was furious inside. And I I paid it without comment. Because I'm British. That's why. We don't like having attention drawn to us. We'll put up with absolutely blooming anything, we Brits. You could charge us double and we wouldn't make a fuss. We could be just walking by the restaurant and you'd give us a bill. We haven't even eaten in there and we'd still pay it. This text says, "Hi Nick, my Donald Trump commemorative teddy bear has arrived. When the cord is pulled, it says, 'Donny is Jesus,' several times and then starts sweating profusely." Well, that certainly sounds like the real deal. Nick, to answer the question of why kids are wearing odd socks recently, schools across the country took part in the Odd Socks Day to raise awareness for anti-bullying. Right. Well, what's that got to do with odd socks? Unless people have been bullied for accidentally wearing odd socks. Or maybe it's just a easy thing you can do in order to display your wokeness. That somebody hasn't complained about that in the right-wing press. I'm absolutely amazed. I'm only hearing it now on this show that there hasn't been headlines written. Fury as odd socks worn by school children. I've stopped reading those stories, and it's pretty much every other story in the right-wing press. The headline will start, Fury as, and at that point, I'm out. I don't want to read any more. Okay, that's a lie. I do read more, but my dander has been raised. I've got no idea what that means. If I shouldn't be saying that on the radio, then I would like to apologise.
I am very sorry
that I screwed up. Yeah, totally screwed up. Yeah, shouldn't have mentioned that whole dander thing.
Disgusting.
Especially it being up and all. Emma in Leighton Buzzard says, Idiocracy is a great film, very relevant these days with a world full of idiots. Well, that is just a fact. If you haven't seen Idiocracy yet, It's made by, I mean, spoiler alert.
Warning, warning.
It's not much of a spoiler, but it's made by the same guy that did Beavis and Butthead. So it's on that level. It's not entirely that stupid because it's not a cartoon. But I mean, I love Beavis and Butthead. I would find it difficult to understand anybody that didn't. But it's that guy, Mike Judge. And there's another film that came out relatively recently. The cast list is huge. It's that Leonardo the Crappiest. He's in that film. And it's called Don't Look Up. I think it's on Netflix. And that is superb. That's very, very good. And that is a film that we're living through at the same time. We're living through Idiocracy and we're living through Don't Look Up. Only one of those films actually ends well for the human race. I wonder if real life will. Well, I suppose we'll find out. Isn't it exciting?
No.
0345 6060 973. What happened to you, Sophie? You were there and then you were gone.
I got cut off, but
Yeah.
you said it's a dream come true that I've laughed myself off the line.
Yes.
So I thought I'd return as the nightmare.
The nightmare is back. All right. Just in time for me to say, I gotta go. Gotta go, Sophie. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. Excellent work. Impossible to get rid of. Roy in Christchurch says, well, I do have some good news that might cheer everybody up. Oh, finally, HAPPY-ness. It's only 1 month till the shortest day. Then that's it. Summer is on her way back. You'll start seeing lovely light evenings. Well, I'm excited anyway. I'm going to iron my Hawaiian shirt tomorrow afternoon, says Roy in Christchurch. Yeah, it does. I was mentioning this yesterday, only because somebody else did. It does come around very, very quickly. And similarly, it comes around, the longest day comes around so quick in summer, doesn't it? Like you barely feel that you've got into summer at all, and already they're telling you that this is the longest day. And then sometimes summer gets better after the longest day. Before it, mostly not much. But yeah, that's right. The shortest day is about a month from now. And then it will start to get lighter again. But because of now, I'm going to start talking about science now, which is one of the subjects I know nothing about.
Correct.
So I'm probably going to get everything I'm about to say wrong. But I do believe that we go around the sun in a parabolic curve. So it's not a circle, it's a parabola. It's like a big oval. And so I think when you get to the end of the oval, then you're still going at the same speed, but things seem to change more slowly than when you're in the fast lane. I should probably stop speaking. Stop speaking now. What do you say? Hands up in the air. Who wants me to stop speaking now? Wow, that is overwhelming. Rather disturbingly overwhelming, as a matter of fact. I think I'm going to have to go and take a break.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
Those are my strict conditions. 0345 6060 973. Bodmin, hello, Malcolm.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Can I do a very quick correction?
Okay.
The Welsh boy who lives in that big hole in South Wales.
Yes.
Merthyr Tydfil, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
just to be clear, when you say he lives in a big hole, you're not calling Merthyr Tydfil a big hole. There is a big hole that they dug for coal near Merthyr Tydfil. That's what you meant, right?
Words to that effect, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, moving on swiftly. It was Ian Dale who assaulted a nuclear...
well, can we just skip past all of that?
No, I'm just clearing my name. I wasn't involved.
Oh, it wasn't you. Right, okay. No, had nothing to do with you. You weren't even there.
It was an assault by a radio.
That whole thing happened when you were otherwise engaged. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't even there, Gus. But no, I ring up about Trump and Project 2025. And I see the news, or I see web pages, which tell us that a very, very high number, and I went to one website, and the author scrolled through a list of about 8 people who have got top roles in Trump's cabinet. Yeah. And they were authors. They authored chapters or pages or whatever in Project 2025. Now, these people, they want to. So the poorly educated, once again, elected Trump, right, as is obvious. And
by and large, yes, the well-educated people with university degrees voted for Kamala, and people who don't have any qualifications at all voted for Donald Trump. We just want President Trump. Those people.
Yeah, well, they played a big part in his victory anyway. But if you actually read this Project 2025, they want to dismantle the state education system. Now, like the Tories here, they're not very keen on their children going to state schools, but they would never scrap state schools. Where these people, they literally want to defund state schools in America.
Well, they don't want to. They don't want to scrap schools. What they want to do is to dictate to schools what they teach their children. And number one on the list is teaching the Bible as an historical document. Every school classroom must have a Bible. I mean, it's like America's just been taken over by the Orange Taliban.
But it's like everything they want to do. They want to defederalize everything. So in other words, the government of America, they want to run nothing, and they want the states to run everything. The 51 states, 50 states there is. But if you look through the list, Nick, these are people like who are the one fellow, for example, he's in charge of all government hiring. And they want to literally wipe away employees who are employed by the federal government.
Yes, they want anybody who would not do whatever Donald Trump or his mini-me's demand. They want to get rid of all of the people, all of the grown-ups, and anybody that is not one of these spangly-eyed cult members, in order to run America as a business. And what blows my mind is that the people who are behind this are billionaires already. There is no amount of money that they could acquire that will change their life, and yet their number one priority is to get more cash. I just cannot put myself in the minds of those people.
Well, the point I make is that these people, one of them, he was named yesterday, I think, or the day before. I guess commerce he's in charge of, right? Now, he will be in charge of Obamacare. So this is health care for something like 150 million people. And they literally want to scrap Obamacare.
Well, yes, and they got poor people in America to vote for that because they called it Obamacare, which was the Republicans' cute way of making Americans not like it. So people who are in receipt of... God, that phone is just terrible, Malcolm. It does sound like you're calling us from the jungle.
Sorry, Nick, I do apologize. But anyway, just have a look at the list. I'm through it all night. But just have a look at the list. The other big aspect was, and TV pundits and newspaper pundits are shouting it out from the rooftops, there's not one person without a white face in his...
No, there is one. Vera, I can't remember what his name is. Vera Sarama or something like that. I can't remember what his name is, but there is one.
Is that the Musk partner in...
yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Well, that's not a department, so he hasn't actually got a post. He's just a free advisor. Yeah. So there's literally not one person other than white people in the whole of the government.
Well, during Donald Trump's rallies, they did give out a Blacks for Trumps T-shirt, so at least they got a T-shirt.
It's sinister, Nick. It is really sinister.
It is, yeah. And, you know, the only thing I can hold on to is that you remember how chaotic and disastrous and malfunctioning the previous administration was when the Orange Tantrum was the president last time? It's going to be like that, but worse.
I don't think I don't think it will be as disorganized. I think these people have had 4 or 5 years to plan this, and I think they're going to be quite clinical and surgical.
Well, you remember who also had 4 or 5 years to plan and was going to be clinical and surgical and was going to get things done on day one?
Absolutely.
And that lasted less a period of time than it took for a vegetable to degrade.
Well, let's hope there's some sort of safety net in place. I can't.
The safety net is that all of the poor people that voted for Donald Trump are the ones that are going to be hurt the most. Right. So eventually, it just has to seep into their consciousness, or just enough of their minds to actually figure out that they've been had. And then, those are the people with all the guns.
The problem is, Dick, what will they do? They can't protest because he's already said he's going to set the National Guard and the military on them.
Right.
So, where does it end?
I can't imagine that it will end well for any of the people they're in charge, because it didn't end well for any of the people in charge the last time Trump was in power. I mean, they to a person, they have spent the intervening period warning us not to elect him again, or they've been in jail. And I cannot imagine that this time around it's going to be any different. No, I think it's going to be a rolling disaster because they're all weird, apart from anything else. Every single person that he's got around him is weird. Point to the one that's not weird, that hasn't got something off about them. I mean, most of them have come to our attention because they've had multiple sexual assault allegations levelled against them. I mean, that does seem to be a unifying factor to many of the people, if not most of the people, that Donald Trump has corralled around himself. So there's always something a bit, strange about them. But then you would expect that, because look at the orange Jesus that they all revere. So I can't imagine it's going to go well for Donald Trump or anybody else that he brings in, because it never has his entire life. People who have worked for Donald Trump name one person who has worked for him or with him who has come out of it well. Name one person. And you think that's going to change now? You think that he is going to change? He's going to start taking advice? Yeah, well, good luck with that. If that's your plan, that Donald Trump is going to spend his days on the golf course and you'll be able to just do with America what you like. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much, Malcolm. It'll all be over soon anyway. 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Lambeth. Hannah.
Hello, good morning.
Hannah.
Yes. Hello, good morning.
Yes, Hannah.
I was just calling to complain about something.
Oh,
quite
yes.
A change of tone.
Mm-hmm.
I was calling to complain about the Carnaby Street Christmas lights. Have you seen them?
No. What are they like?
They're fabulously ugly.
Ugly?
They're revolting in two senses. Number one, they're incredibly ugly. They look like a bunch of shopping trolleys that have been strung up across the street.
Really? Maybe they are.
Yes, they're like wire cages. No, they're not. I thought they were, but they're just wire cages, which isn't very nice, especially when you compare it to, like, Regent Street, which has, like, lots of lovely angels.
Oh, that again? Is it the same thing again?
I think so, yes. But it's a classic. It works. Carnaby Street. And it's also... I hate to use the word woke. I really do. But it's quite woke because they've made a point about how it's really sustainable. And
well, what's wrong with sustainability? Crying out loud!
Christmas.
That's ridiculous.
Sustainability at Christmas is sort of opposed to the entire idea of excess at Christmas. Supposed to be the glorious celebration.
Yeah, but you just praised Regent. Wait a minute. You just praised Regent Street lights, and they, from your description, sound like the same lights as they were last year and the year before that. So that's sustainable.
Yes, but they look nice. That's a classy way of doing sustainability. You have to make them look like industrial cage nightmares.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. That doesn't seem that bad. I mean, it's just light for crying out. But, yeah, OK. They do look like something you would put somebody in prison
They look sort of Soviet. They look quite Soviet.
But maybe
Especially when you compare it to the sort of neon loveliness that they have.
OK, yeah. Maybe they are actual cages for shoplifters.
That would be good, yes. Keir Starmer, I have an idea for you. Yvette Cooper, get on this.
Right, OK, well, I'll pass that message on with your full support. Thanks a lot, Hannah. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Woke Christmas lights.
Oh, no.
Can you believe that? Ray says it's not just Jaguar that has the uptights getting their knickers in a twist. They're also getting uptight about the Boots Christmas ad. No wonder the NHS is in trouble. All that fury must play havoc with their blood pressure. Yes. Yeah, I mean, getting furious seems to be some people's only pleasure left in life. They're angry about everything, which is why the newspapers do start... I mean, if you haven't noticed it yet, then you will now. But there's almost no day goes by without the right-wing press putting some completely, benign story up with the headline, Fury as... ... It's just preposterous, really. But the reason that they do it, the reason that they do anything, that they put any story out, is because they think that you will click on it. And if the story has appeared before, like Beckham's Kids, for instance, or these Fury as stories, they have already tried and tested them. They've shown them to the public, and the public clicks on them. That's why they keep coming back again, over and over and over again. That's why the same stories appear again and again and again, is because you keep clicking on them. They can see what you're looking at. They can probably see what you're doing. It can see that you're wearing Crocs with socks.
Disgusting.
You believe that?
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Come on, we're running late.
Yeah, we are running late. Tariq in Chertsey says, did you see or hear Boris Johnson's interview with a French radio station? He was speaking in French. When translated into English, it was still gibberish.
Yeah. Wait.
And Francis in Canterbury says, can you give my dad a shout for his birthday? I put a lot of effort into his birthday and he was ungrateful. No, I cannot. Come on, Francis's dad. Put a lot of effort into that. Let's have, let's see now, who's been waiting the longest? Bridgend. Hello, Bo.
Hiya, Nick. Nick, just finished an afternoon shift, mate.
Have you?
Having a cold beer and you really wound me up. Oh, your Sex Pistols lyrics were brilliant. And oh, Mr. Daltrey, Mr. Daltrey, I was born with £1 million in my bank account. This is a man... I got young bands in my street. Yeah. This is a man who told them to suck it up and get on with Brexit. I got loads of money. I can go where I like. And they had to cancel a tour to somewhere. I believe it was Holland. And totally lost respect for him after that. Totally lost respect for him.
Well, don't listen to Roger Daltrey don't listen to Roger Daltrey about politics or about Brexit, because he appears not to know what he's talking about.
Yes, brilliant lyrics.
Yeah, but he didn't write them. That was Pete Townsend.
It was Pete who wrote them, was it?
Yeah, Pete. Pete's the writer in that band.
But totally lost respect for Roger when he told young musicians, because he stifled their ambitions. He just. Why didn't he stand up for young people? And the
guy out of Iron Maiden, they're both the same. They told you, you can vote for Brexit. There's not going to be any trouble touring in Europe. You'd be an idiot to think there was any trouble touring in Europe. And then since then, they've been complaining that it's very difficult to tour Europe, even with their kind of money.
I know. How your heroes let you down, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Never meet one.
I was listening to the earlier Welshman. I was wondering why so many Welshmen love your show.
Because they are excellent judges.
Well, I think it's because we need to get a life.
Well, because there's nothing to do? This is all you've got?
I thought I'll watch a bit of telly, but I'll turn in and listen to the absurdity of the world. I'll have a listen to Nick.
Yes.
Do you remember speaking to a lady earlier on who you was trying to get to sing?
Pardon?
Maybe not.
Who was trying to do the what now?
You spoke to a lady earlier on in the show, and you was going to get her to sing, I think, or try to get her to sing.
No.
You don't remember?
No.
Well, I'll give you my song. Old MacDonald had a farm.
Yes.
And the government stole it.
All right. Excellent work. Thanks a lot, Bo. Old MacDonald had a farm and the government stole it. No! I'm not sure that'll catch on. Text and emails. David Paul says, Nick, having just returned from 2 months in Spain, I don't worry about heavy rain and flooding unless I see HGVs floating past my house. That's right. Get it in perspective. This says, hi, Nick, just moved to a Dallas suburb in Murca. Seeing far too many Trump signs in people's yards. Do you think I should tell my neighbours that I voted for the other person?
Warning, warning.
No. And get out of Dallas. What do you want to go there for? I've been to Dallas. I went to Dallas in August. One of the hottest places I've ever been in my life. I tried to phone home, and they had in the street. Well, of course, everyone's got a mobile phone now. Nobody uses a telephone box, a public phone in America anymore than they do here. But at that time, they had phones on poles in the street and like a metal hood that covered it. And there was no part of the phone that I could actually touch. It was all red hot. And I had to phone home, probably because I'd run out of money. Mum! Like that. And it was August, in the middle of the day, and I couldn't even pick up the receiver and dial the number. The thing was so hot. What do you want to live in Dallas for? What are you, out of your mind? Let's have Pontyland. Harrison.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Can I get in?
You're in.
Brian Lee, yeah.
Brian Lee?
Yeah, it's Brian Harrison Lee, yeah.
Who's that?
I just wanted to ring and ask if... I haven't heard much comment about the fact that a program was on PBS just a few weeks ago.
It was on what?
On PBS, Public Broadcasting Service.
Public Broadcasting System, yes.
Yeah, and it was about the Nazis who were pretty well installed in America, and they eventually formed something called the Bund, I think it was. Anyway, they were getting bigger and bigger and nastier, and then there was Pearl Harbor happened. And apparently they all faded away after that, when they realized what was happening in life. I haven't heard anybody reference this in so far as it seems to be echoing the Trump situation now, with Kamala sort of calling him a fascist and his appraisal of generals, Nazi generals. It seems a bit too bad to be true. What do you think about that?
I think that you've single-handedly ruined this program.
Sorry about
right
that.
At the end.
Oh, dear.
And the reason that people haven't commented on it is because we don't get PBS here. That's an American TV channel. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about an ordinary television set, and it's an old one as well.
Oh, well, you got it on an old TV. Ah, well, you should have said you're watching an old TV. It's got old programmes on it, no doubt. Does it get porridge?
Just a minute. PBS is advertising the Radio Times every week.
Well, I can't believe that they still make the Radio Times. What for?
Well, they do. You're out of touch.
I certainly am, yeah, and I'm glad to be so. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Harrison, if that is indeed your name. And from Pontyland, if indeed that is a place. You believe that? It's fun in Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, Nick.
Yes,
Hi,
Jan, how are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, fine. And you?
Yeah, great, mate. I'm trying to recover from that last call.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've got something a bit uplifting. I thought,
You do? HAPPY.
I've been
What?
too much in all that war stuff and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
get
want
your head
to-
out of the war stuff.
Yeah, so have something really nice. I mean, I've found some unutterably beautiful music, and I'm memorising.
Can you sing it for us?
Something else. This is something else. This is about the Tree of the Year. The Woodland Trust have chosen their Tree of
Right,
the Year.
I know what the Tree of the Year is. The
Ancient
Tree of
oak.
the Year is the same tree as it is every year, and I have the correct answer to that question.
No, Nick, it's the Skippinish
No.
400-year-old oak.
No,
What's
it isn't.
interesting?
It isn't.
It's in Scotland.
Yes.
And there's a band. They call them a Skippinish band. Oh no, that's a Cayley. I think I pronounced it. I don't know how to pronounce it because it's a Gaelic Scottish word. But they're going to write a song in honour. The band is going to write a song in honour.
They're going to write a song about a tree.
No, the photo of it. It looks quite magical.
Right, one moment, please. What's this called?
It's called the Skippinish Oak.
SKIPPINISHOAK.
The Skippinish Oak.
Oh,
400-year-old oak.
That is
has
a
won.
frightening-looking thing. Look at that.
Yes,
Oaks are
400-year-old
not.
oak.
Listen to me. Oaks are not very good-looking trees, are they? Particularly without their leaves on. This one's nude.
Disgusting. Have you got the photograph?
I'm looking at it right now with my own eyes.
Oh, I thought it looked quite magical.
Well, yes, it looks magical, as in the character in a Harry Potter film during the horror part. You know, a trail of spiders would have led Harry Potter to that tree, and then the tree would have tried to kill him.
It's still alive. It was voted. It got the bigger vote than some of the other.
Well, I don't care how many votes it got. That is not the tree of the year. The tree of the year, I can tell you what the tree of the year is. The tree of this year and last year and next year. The tree of the year is the Weeping Beech on the Broad Walk in Kew Gardens. I think you'll find that is correct. Yeah, you're going to have to look it up. Giving you homework there, Jan. But thanks for the bad news there. It's the real tree of the year has been usurped by some interloper, some hideous oak monstrosity. Skippinish oak, my eye. And finally, Phil texts, when the Russians invade, I'm hiding in the Hazlitt Theatre in Maidstone. It's as safe as houses. The Russians will have nowhere to park, and the lady on the stage door won't let them in. My favourite message of the night. 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 Favourite message of the night.